Good evening, everybody. This is John Marola from Keeping It Real Section 5 Football. And as you can see, tonight's episode is going to be our final episode of season number 2. And this would be our 47th episode of season number 2. And overall, 98. This is our 98th episode, so we got 2 more to go before we get to the big 100. As you can see, my 2 partners, we're stuck here in between Christmas and New Year's. So Paul, he's in the air right now probably. He's going to go watch the Rose Bowl game coming up in a couple days. So he's on his way to Pasadena. And Dave is visiting family. So in replace of them, I had, actually Bob and I were on right before Westside Camp at the beginning of August, and I'd like to introduce to my right Aquinas Hall of Famer and former Super Prep writer Bob Ebert. Bob, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Nice to be here, John.
Okay, and what we're going to do is a little off-the-cuff type of thing here. We're going to just talk about generally a little bit about the season, how this past season ended up. Very, very surprising, and go over that a little bit. And then we're going to get into a little bit which we've been discussing. Actually, it's been myself and Bob, a little bit with George Giordano, a little bit with Joe Muno up at Premier, talking about the N.I.L. in Section 5 and what that's all about. And, you know, that's still pretty new to people, and we're just going to talk a little bit more about that. So, Bob, let's get into it. Let's talk about the season first. What was, you watched your share of games. The other reason, too, I had Bob on, we started watching football games. It's got to be in the early 80s, right?
Been a while.
We've seen our share. And just watching how Section 5 evolve around Section 5, and we're just going to talk a little bit about that, and also then we'll get into the NIL a little bit, and we'll also talk about, we had a couple kids that signed. I'd like to mention their names. So, talking about this past season, as far as Double A, that was just totally, like we were talking about earlier, never would have expected to see Penfield and Pittsburgh in the sectional finals, but you know what? When the last men were standing, those 2 were still standing.
Correct.
So you give them a lot of credit in the season. I think both of them started off a little slow, but definitely got momentum towards the end of this regular season.
I think Double A was influenced by defections and also injuries. I know Rush and Riata lost a couple of players, including their quarterback, which we all know is very important. Aquinas, my team, we lost 4 kids to transfers, 2 all Greater Rochester first team receivers, and the player of the year up in Section 6. So that greatly affected what Rush Henrietta could do, what Aquinas could do. And I'll give Penfield and Pittsburgh credit. They took advantage of the situation and made it a championship game, and Penfield actually won the sectionals, so that was good for them.
Yes.
Good for Anthony Bianchi Jr.
Yep.
Good kid.
Yep, we had him play for me when I was at Aquinas. Just he's a great young man from then, and still continuing on as a head coach, just doing some really exciting things over at Penfield. And Pittsburgh too. I mean, Pittsburgh ended up. I was at their Pittsburgh McClay game at the semis for sectionals, and they came down and scored at the end when they had to. I think there was, I want to say, like 47 seconds left in the game, and came down and scored a touchdown and held McQuaid and went on to the finals. So, congratulations to Pittsford. Again, back in September, I don't think I would have been picking either of those guys, but you know what? That's what makes, you got to play the game. Like they say, you got to play the game. And congratulations again to those teams and those players and coaches. Then talking about Brighton's Brighton. Brighton just they had a really, they had a couple losses in there, I know, but at the end, they were the last man standing.
They won the games when it counted.
Yes, they did, and they went on and went all the way to the state finals and lost to a good team in the state finals. So definitely growing. This is a couple years now that they have gotten out of sectionals and into states.
The big question about them that I have about them is, will they be able to sustain that going forward, like next year or the year after? I don't know. Did they have a nice group of players that won 2 sectionals in a row, or is their program at the point where they're going to rebuild and continue on with their winning ways?
When we start having the head coaches on there of sectionals, Coach Lean from Brighton, I'm going to ask him a question that a lot of people were asking us when we were coaching at Aquinas, and that question is it harder to win sectionals, or is it harder to sustain that winning tradition? Which one of the two you think would be the hardest?
I think sustaining.
Yeah, I do too.
Like I say, you can get just happen to get a bunch of kids that come in there and win a couple sectional titles, one for sure, sometimes 2 if you get a lot of juniors. But sustaining that for the long run is probably the hardest thing.
It is, because those juniors and seniors, go on, and now you have the next, 2 years, that whole crop of kids is basically gone.
Yeah.
And what are you doing then? That's the key. And I know Chris did a great job over at Aquinas. And granted, we could go, you got to have the horses to win the game. He had the horses, but you know what?
Good.
They won. So, is that something harder? Is it? Imagine having horses and not winning.
That would be a problem.
That would be a problem. So, again, congratulations to actually everybody. I thought the football this year was really good. There were some really close games. And just going through the season and just getting ready for 2026. Now, again, we're going to, like I said, we're right before, New Year's is tomorrow. This will be out the day after New Year's, so this will be out.
Monroe, obviously, everyone knows, won Class B, won the state championship. And that's congratulations to those kids, because I'm sure they'll remember that, for the rest of their lives. I do think that they were cheated a little bit. They should have. They would have probably won AA or A if they had been up there. But I think they were cheated a little bit because they were never really tested and never really found out how good they could be against quality competition. Class B, they were just overwhelmingly talented, and the Class B teams couldn't match them. So most of their games were routes, and I don't know. To me, those are no fun. There's no sense of achievement there. You beat teams 60-0, 84-0. I mean, to me, that's not fun. But that's just my personal feeling.
My thoughts too are on that too. One thing I can go back to saying is when we were at Aquinas, we had horses like that, back then, but we also went out once a year and played somebody. Camp McKinley, great example.
Yeah.
Going down and playing in the Football Hall of Fame, bringing the kids down overnight. I mean, that's actually I just talked to Ian Kubelet, and we always stay in touch. And he always mentioned that experience more so than when we won states that year. I mean, we won states, and that was great and everything. But that experience like that's something that the kids and us as coaches will never forget. I mean, just the experience of going down, and that is what people call big-time football. That we were playing big-time football. I mean, you played in front of 10,000 people, and it looked like nobody was there because the place held 23,000. And they dressed over 100 kids on the varsity. That's their varsity. JV. They only had 6 sophomores on the JV that year. I looked on their roster.
I do believe that, I think I just saw this recently, that 4 or 5 years before we played them,
They were national champions, back-to-back national.
yeah,
So, yeah.
they were the real deal. And we played with them. We lost, unfortunately.
Well, we had 5 turnovers.
Right.
I mean, again, I've said it, we weren't going to beat the Grease Chargers that day. We turned the ball over 5 times, but just the experience was just unbelievable. Lifelong memories.
It was a college experience for high school kids. Going overnight, staying in a hotel out of town, out of state, and playing in a stadium like that. A lot of those kids, most of those kids will never experience that again.
My thoughts are exactly the same as yours as far as Monroe. As far as the kids are concerned at Monroe, their kids are kids. Congratulations. You guys will never forget that experience. That was an awesome experience for you. But as far as playing, and I'm sure sometime, maybe not today or tomorrow, they'll think back and say, you know what, it would have been nice to play a big dog, say, out-of-state team.
We know a big dog that would have accommodated them and paid him $15,000.
At least 15 to 20 grand, I know. So that's down in Ohio. But, they don't want to go that direction. So be it, I guess. But as I told other people, I think they left some meat on the bone this past year.
Yeah.
Again, congratulations to the kids. I mean, the kids, like I said, they'll never experience anything probably like that again. Most of them, as far as, that atmosphere and everything. So, then on to, I didn't watch, I tell myself this every year, I got to get down. We had Bill Devitt here a couple weeks ago talking about the BC and Ds, and I would like to get out and talk to, I'm going to have him in a couple weeks, Coach Engler from Avon. I would like to get out and watch an Avon game. Calmon Leroy, I love watching them play against each other. Now they're together. Get down and watch some of that. Brings back some great memories.
That's still unbelievable to me that Calmon and Leroy, that's like Aquinas and McQuaid merging.
I could see Aquinas and McQuaid merging more than Calmon and Leroy, just because, Aquinas and McQuaid back in the 70s and 80s, never. But as they got into like the 90s and the 2000s, it's just, we just didn't like the guys from McQuaid when we were in high school. This is back in the early 80s. We'd see them out wherever, at a gas station or the mall or wherever. They had their jackets on. We did, they went their way, we went our way. And that's how it was. Today, I know they interact because of the internet. They're always chatting with each other on group chats and that, so that kind of brings them closer together, which is fine. It takes a little bit of the rivalry out, maybe, but still, it's nice to see.
It's also nice to see that I think they call it the Challenger Trophy, is back where it belongs at 1127 Dewey Avenue this year. So that was one positive achievement that the Aquinas football team had this year, despite losing all those kids. We still,
like I said, McQuaid. I knew in the beginning of the season that they were not going to be the same team, but losing your first 6 games. And then seeing Bobby Bates had enough sense just to say, you know what, what we're running ain't working, so let's get out of it and get into something. And congratulations to them. They won their last 3 out of 4 games, and they just about made it to the sectional finals back again. So just having enough of not being, I've said it so many times too, not being pigeon-toed, more or less.
Pigeonhole.
You're like on my correction this
You gotta do it. It's hard.
Yeah, I don't have the Dave and Paul, like the 2 caballeros.
Yeah.
Well, this is our offense and this is what we run, and it really upsets me to hear or to see coaches, especially in high school. You're kind of limited as far as talent wise. Again, with everybody running the spread, if your quarterback isn't the best player on your team, you're really not going anywhere playing that type of offense.
True.
So you got to start there. So McQuaid just doing that, just getting back to the basics, shows a lot. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it was good. It was good coaching on his part. That after losing 6 in a row, you got to figure this isn't working, so we better figure out what we're going to do the rest of the season. And he did.
And one thing Bobby did say through that was, and I talked to him before we went on, was, I was up there maybe once or twice during that little span of 6 games, and I didn't notice it, but I asked him, I said, how are the kids' morale? And he says, you know what? He goes, they come out and they work their butts off every day. He says, they come out and they work hard, and I said, that's all you can ask. I mean, if you're just getting beat because of the talent on the other side is just better, then okay, you can swallow that pill. But then you guys switched out of that and went to something that you guys can handle, so, congratulations on that. So, let's get into, you ready for this?
NIL.
NIL. The NIL in Rochester, I think this is the first year that it's really take hold. In the beginning, when George Giordano introduced me to this back, I think I did an episode with Antoine back in September. And at that time, I was really like, what is this? This is not how we know football. And, after talking to him, after seeing what he can do and what there's pros and cons. Like anything else, I believe there's pros and cons. I think there is some good with this NIL. And the one good thing I do know is it kind of helps out the student and their families a little bit. Everybody knows how the economy is these days. And with a little, money coming in because your son or daughter is a real good athlete, I don't see any really big problem with that. Now, let's go and talk about how much. If you're talking thousands, couple thousands here and there, I see no problem. Now you get into tens of thousands, and the kid's still in high school, who knows? Maybe that's just a different pill to swallow, but
My problem with the whole NIL
what is it?
concept is, as we've talked about many times, yeah, it's great for a kid like the Hampton kid from Monroe supposedly got a big NIL deal. But what about the rest of the kids that practice every day, that block for them, that make plays on defense for, to help them win? They're working just as hard, I would assume. And what do they get? They get nothing. It's like, I wonder how that affects team morale and, unity. When you got 1 or 2 guys, maybe, if you're lucky, that are getting big dollars and everybody else is getting...
I see that. I do, and it's taken me a little bit to, kind of look into a little bit. And, well, I'm trying to make a comparison here. Say you're a straight A student in school.
Like I was.
Oh, of course, like how you were. And now you have colleges coming in because they want the best of the best, right? Now you're going to get a academic scholarship to a school, and that kid next to you doesn't get nothing.
That would be you.
Okay, see, that's me. So you get everything and I get nothing. Is that fair?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to compare the two, the academics and athletic ability.
Well, I'm just trying to say, like, one kid's strong as a physical, being an athlete, and the other one's strong mentally. I mean, congratulations to him and congratulations to the other one. That's the way I kind of look at it.
Well, one thing is the kid who, like the Hampton kid, I mean, he was just, I know what you're going to say to this, but he was just born with great athletic ability, speed, and just athletic ability, where the kid that's getting the good marks in school maybe working harder to get those marks, where the Hampton kid maybe doesn't. I don't know the kid, so I don't know how hard he worked, but was it just God-given ability, or did he work harder than the other kids to earn that?
I think in both cases, not the norm, but maybe the kid that's a straight A kid was born just
could be,
and the kid that's just the athlete, had a little more skill than anybody else. But I'm not saying that neither of them worked at that. They probably being an A student, it just doesn't happen. Like, I can sit back and just do whatever.
Just to correct the record, I wasn't a straight A student.
Oh, that's a big load off of my mind. But, it's still, for us, it's hard to accept.
I think anytime you introduce money, into the equation, it corrupts the situation.
Yes and no. I mean, like I said, helping a challenging family out, what's wrong with that?
Well, nothing, but,
I honestly think that a kid in high school, they should get those academic scholarships out. They should get a little something, money-wise.
Where's it going to come from?
Well, come up with an NIL for that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're the 1% of the 1%, just like Hampton is the 1% of the 1, in Rochester. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it athletically. The other kid's doing it with his mind.
Well, the kid is doing it with his mind may, hopefully get a scholarship, college scholarship.
Yeah.
But that's not cash in his pocket.
No, I'm saying maybe introduce that to cash in the pocket for the kid that's getting the straight A's. Why not? What's wrong with that? It's like rewarding. Again, I think there needs to be a cap on it. I don't know if there is or isn't, as far as how much a young man or young girl can get. Now, going back, I know that talking to Antoine, we were out a couple months ago. We went out and talked to our Section 5 chairman, Taylor Winter, out at Oakfield, and we met with him just to go over some things that we would like to do in the off season. And just so happened we were standing in the parking lot, and a girls' soccer team got off the bus. I want to say they were from Pavilion, maybe. And anyways, the girl got off the bus and said, "Hey, Antoine, how you doing?" And she kind of walked by, and I said to him, "Who's that?" "Oh, we represent her. She's going to Florida on a soccer scholarship." And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So, I mean, it's not just football. It's not just for the boys.
That's true.
And she's being rewarded for that. I don't see anything really being wrong, I don't see anything really being wrong as far as...
Again, it doesn't matter what sport it is. I just worry about,
it getting out of hand.
Team unity. I have no problem, like, at the college level with especially Division I college players, because they're making a lot of money for their, respective schools. I have no problem with them getting something like a stipend to help them, because they can't.
Well, every kid gets a stipend.
Well, no,
the Division I kids,
a little extra money.
I know kids get
not millions of dollars.
Not millions.
Thousands.
No, they were getting thousands of dollars.
Maybe enough money so they can kind of live a normal, semi-normal college life. I mean, because they can't really work in the city.
I know a kid that I formerly coached, and you know who he is. I won't say it. At the end of his career in college, he told me, I didn't hear it, he told me he had over $30,000 in the bank going through college that was given to him after 4 years.
Yeah, that's not horrible, I don't think.
No, what's wrong with that?
What about the rest of the kids on the team?
I didn't ask the rest of the kids. I don't know the rest of the kids.
You got to give me a hint who it was. I don't know.
You know who it is. Well, I'll tell you later.
Were we just talking about him a little while?
No. So, anyways, again, I'd like to get Antoine. I'm going to get him back on here in the next month or so. Maybe you'd like to come aboard with that one.
Yeah. I'd like to know, what I have a hard time understanding is, like, where does that money come from? I mean, who's actually...
Well, I said Chick-fil-A, I know, is one of his big sponsors.
What do they get out of it?
They get a write-off. I mean, or something. I mean, I know everybody's not in it just, Antoine's there to make a living, like, kind of like anybody else. I know our high school is in 9 different states.
Now, I remember from my business law classes many years ago. I told you how good I was in math. Business law, to have a valid contract, there's got to be, both sides have to give something. Like Chick-fil-A would hand over some money. Well, what do they get? They have to get something back to have a valid contract from the kid. I mean, you can't just say it's a write-off. The kid, does he do advertising for them, or?
Well, I think I've seen
some show up at the restaurant. That would be.
Do like an autograph session?
Well, anything. You had to hopefully draw people in so that Chick-fil-A sells more Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
To make it a valid contract, what's the word I'm searching for? I don't know. I forgot. But anyways, both sides have to, consideration, I think. Both sides have to benefit from it.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think it has to be, like, for fair, too. You can't just give the kid $100,000 to show up for a 5-minute autograph session.
No, I'm sure there's stipulations in there for it.
I don't like the fact that, I think college football and now high school football, next to it be Pop Warner football, is being polluted by money.
Don't say polluted. Just say the canvas has changed.
I just said polluted.
Don't say polluted.
All right.
I don't like that.
Corrupted.
Don't even say that. Now you're getting worse. It's just different.
Right. Like I said, you really do.
Is it better?
I don't think so. My opinion, I don't think so.
So if a kid had an opportunity of getting a couple $1,000 in his pocket while he's in high school, that's not good. What's the difference between... All right, let's go.
Go ahead. I know where you're going.
Where am I going?
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
What's the difference between that and a kid that plays football in the fall and also has a job? Because he's got to try to make ends meet. What's wrong with that?
Well, the kid's working for the money.
So he's talented and working for it, playing football.
It's a little bit of a...
And now you don't have to, lose that kid because, Coach, I got to go to work. Well, you're making money doing this, so you don't need to leave. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's pluses and minuses. Trust me, I don't agree on... my big question would be, is there a cap on this? Is there, a limit that a young man or young lady can make on this, or is it unlimited? If it's unlimited, I think that's wrong in high school.
Well, from the figures I'm hearing, and I don't know if they're true or not, I think it's unlimited. Well,
then again, let's talk about... we'll talk about Hampton because he's a senior. He just got done playing his senior year. Mm-hmm. So is he still considered a high school player? Or now does he have the opportunity to make millions right now? You know what I'm saying?
Again, I don't even like NIL what it's doing to college football.
I think it should have been there. I think it should have been there years ago. The kids were playing. The days of playing because you were getting a free tuition that's the 70s and a little bit in the 80s.
Which is sad.
It's sad because we're old. But
it's sad because we're not getting any of the money.
Exactly. But the other thing is, now you got to look at the families. You got to look at the families. You got to look at the economy. I mean, this is not the 70s in any shape or form. If the kids can help out mom and dad because they're an outstanding athlete at whatever they play and they get some money for it, what's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's hurting. Everybody's hurting for money.
Not me.
Oh, no, I should have took that back. Well, we'll see after this show's over with, because, there's a fee to be on the show.
Yeah, normally I charge like $250 for something like this. Today, it only cost me like $50. I had to buy them lunch.
$50? No.
It's a cheap date.
No, it's going to get a lot more expensive as soon as the lights go off. It's tough because we don't know all the answers. Jeez, some of them I don't even know what the question is.
Like in college football, I'm not sure if the schools are coming up with a pot of money to pay these kids, or
I know the schools are, but are there outside, like Chick-fil-A, throw them in there. Is Chick-fil-A helping with these kids in college, or is it just
I don't know,
money from the college?
I mean, you're talking major money.
$20 million.
So you got to sell a lot of Chick-fil-A sandwiches to cover that.
Well, it's a national brand.
Yeah.
So,
but we're back to what are they getting out of it?
What does who get? Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A or anything?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they just got to do write-offs. Oh, business might be good.
It must be. I've never been there, but anyways.
You never been to Chick-fil-A?
Never.
Oh my God.
I thought you were going. You know where I thought you were going to?
No.
Tuition assistance.
What about it? Oh, how it's
with me.
Oh, with kids at Aquinas?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that means I can cut this if I want. All right. 1, 2, 3. Now we can get into. We talked about this a lot of times, about, let's talk about Aquinas giving out tuition or assistance.
Or McQuaid.
Or Kearney. To get kids at their school. Years ago, that was cool. That was the thing. But now with the NIL, the NIL is here. Kids want money in their pocket. Which I don't blame them. I mean, if that was anybody, who doesn't want money in their pocket? So giving out tuition or getting kids into a school for their tuition, that's not the what's the word I'm looking for? The goal of
the answer.
Yeah. It's like what I said before. Back in the 70s, when TV ratings came out, Notre Dame signed with NBC. I'll never forget. Signed with NBC. Every Notre Dame game was on television. What kid didn't want to go to Notre Dame because nobody was on TV back then? That's why Notre Dame was Notre Dame. That's why when kids went to a school, going to a Catholic school and they were going to help me out financially, but now the game has changed.
Well, I mean, when you talk about the you'll probably get in trouble. When you talk about the Catholic schools, in most cases, it's a better education. It was what you're going there for.
I don't know better. Let's say
I think
safer.
Well, statistics prove it's better. I mean, graduation.
Anybody can throw numbers around. I've seen that.
They're not gonna. No school's gonna fake the numbers because.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
If you were exposed for doing that, it wouldn't be very good for you.
No, but to stay at that level, you may have to say things or make believe things are being done that aren't really,
I disagree with that. I mean, I have some inside information on that. They're not going to make up numbers. No Catholic school or private school is going to do that. That would be like Harvard or Yale saying, well, we graduate 100% of our students, and they all start out their careers making $300,000-$400,000 each, and go up from there. They're not going to say that unless it's true. I mean, it's not worth the risk. But anyways, I mean, we could debate that all day. But
yeah,
people. Let me just say this: people that invest the money in their kid to go to any one of those schools. Private schools, do so because they feel it's going to give them an advantage as far as getting into college and for the rest of their lives. That's why they do it.
For the most part, kids that do go to the Catholic schools in Rochester, their families or whoever is their guardian is looking high school and college afterwards. There's not really high school and you're going to go out and get a job.
No,
there's high school and college after that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I think more kids should take up the trades.
Trades are definitely worth to be.
But I think you're right. I think if you look at all of our Catholic schools in the area, they all say they're college preparatory schools. So the idea is you go there, you're going to graduate, you're going to go to college somewhere. And I think the percentages of kids from all the Catholic schools in Rochester in the area, it's up in the upper 90s that go on to college. There's always some that go in the military or possibly take up a trade. Hopefully.
The trades are definitely on a rebound. I know.
I would tell a kid, if you don't love school, take up a trade.
My two nephews are doing that, and they're both in their early 20s. They go to school a couple days a week, and then they work in between all of that. And they love what they're doing, and they're making real good money, and they're set. They're good. They put their 20, 25 years in, and that's a nice living.
How do you get a job working for the government? Like I did.
Well, you did. I don't work for the government.
You work for the city school district.
I work for the city school district.
Last time I checked.
That's the government?
That's the government. You get a pension, New York State pension.
Yes, I do.
Just like I will.
Yes.
If I ever retire.
You're not going to retire, so.
Probably not.
Too scared.
Oh. I like what I do, and
like I said, I did my time in the high school. I did 10 years in the high school, and we had some great times, and I got to meet some really, really special guys. Crawford being one of them. Big Crawdaddy, and 50 and my guys over there, and I'll never trade that. Never trade that. That was, we had to be tight. That's the only way it would work. You go through a high school, especially in the city, every day, and you just become really tight with the guys around you.
Are we getting off the beaten track?
Yes, we are.
Section 5 football?
It's Section 5.
Yeah.
Right? So, we could talk about all the improvements they did over at Charlotte. Still call it Charlotte, but Thurgood Marshall, if you want to be updated. With the turf and the lights and everything over there, the new track, the new scoreboard.
Don't they call that the hidden gem?
It is, and I think I named that. Yeah. It is, though. It's so quiet back there. And actually, if you go on Marketplace, I just looked at it this morning by chance. Their old scoreboard, the Charlotte scoreboard, is on sale on Marketplace for, I believe, 1600.
Really?
So, it's like a little memories of the past.
Anybody that went to Charlotte High School, maybe played football, soccer, whatever, by the scoreboard.
Played for Lem back in the early 80s. That was,
Lem should buy it.
yeah, that would be, he could put it in his backyard.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. When we're in the pool, keep score. But, anyways, back to that. Like, again, I don't have all, we don't have all the answers.
We think we do, but
We always think we do, but we don't. But it was, just getting out. And I will have Antoine on. Just a quick update. Our next show, and I meant to write this down, and of course I didn't, will be, it'll be the second week in January. It's still coming out on Thursday at 5 p.m., our show. So, in the month of January...
Wait a minute, I thought you said 9 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that one is going to be on this week.
Oh, okay. I'll set my alarm for that.
And then we're going to do 2 weeks, so it'll be after the 1st. So we're looking at like I would say the 14th or 15th. If my calendar would ever pop up.
The problem with 9 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day...
What, you're hungover?
Well, no, but I'll be up late celebrating the...
Notre Dame victory?
No, the Ohio State victory over Miami.
You know what? At least we're talking about Miami. That other team?
Yeah, I know.
What are they doing right now?
Getting ready for the 2026 season.
Miami will be doing that in a couple of weeks, too. But right now, they got bigger things to take care of.
Yeah,
my other team, though, I like Ohio State, too. All my kumbadis are down in Ohio. So, the next time, this will be out after this show, today, it'll be Thursday the 4th. Am I right? No.
Well, if Thursday's the 1st.
Yeah, the 1st. My bad. Yep, then the 8th, and then the 22nd. So this month it'll be the 1st, 8th, and the 22nd at 5 p.m. And the 8th, we're planning on having is Dave Cohen. And,
famous referee.
Yes, Sean McCabe.
Another famous referee.
Yes, we're going to have those guys in because Dave is just retired from refereeing in Section 5, and he just completed his 35th year of refereeing, so we want to definitely get him on. He's been just such a super guy to have. People really don't know him because a perfect referee is a person that nobody really knows because he's just out there doing his job.
By the way, if anyone out there would like to be a referee, I'm sure they would be glad to sign you up.
Oh, definitely. They're hurting. You know what the biggest thing is? And since we're having a little controversy anyways on this episode, bringing in new guys, there's two things I know that are keeping guys from not wanting to referee, and I know that they're trying to correct both of them, the officials that are right now. The first one is their uniform. Their uniform with their outfit, now you got to have a winter outfit, comes about $700. So right then and there, you got to be kicking in a couple dollars to get that started up. Mm-hmm. And the other part is
parents.
It's kind of, with that is they're making the new guys on the weekends do the Pop Warner games. Oh. So along with the Pop Warner, you have the Pop Warner parents.
Every parent's a coach.
Every single one of them. You just got to ask them. And that's just a whole nother animal. That's something I'm going to go back. Now, another thing is the 24th of January will be our 3rd year anniversary.
Wow.
So,
had some balloons for everybody.
Well, New Year's, I know I got something set up for New Year's, and actually, then I might have a special one. And if I do have a special one, there's only one guy I gotta have on. Who would be that guy? He was on our first episode of year number 1. He was on our first episode of year number 2. This year he won't be on our first episode, but he'll be in the first. He'll be at that date. Who is it? Come on. No. I love X-Dog, but not... You're not even going to guess it. It's not even a coach.
Not even a coach. I don't know.
And you didn't go to Aquinas.
Why waste your time?
You went to Erie Prep.
Oh, DeTulio.
John DeTulio. Yes, I got to have tools.
It would be good.
Yeah, I always got to have tools on at the beginning of the year. He's a great guy to have on for kickoff. He's not doing as much as high school, covering high school sports as he used to do, but he's just a great guy to have on. He's a lot of fun, and we'll definitely have a lot of laughs. That's if I can have my other 2 guys back by then. Who knows? Well, I know Paul told me that in February he goes down to Florida. He's a snowbird a little bit. So February, March, and comes back like April or something like that.
You never know if the viewers, after seeing me today, will want them back. I mean, they may be...
The phones are ringing off the hook right now.
I'm sure they are.
Well, let's put it like this. Please subscribe. If you have subscribed to our channel, I got to say thank you very much. We really, really do appreciate it. By me not doing having an episode every week, it's giving me a chance to get out. I got some people I'm working with trying to get sponsors for us and our channel. I also brought out some other things that I'm kind of testing. Is we're going to go cordless a little bit during the season. So if we're at a game, we can broadcast it from anywhere, basically in the stadium, and do stuff like that. Just try to upgrade our stuff a little bit. So I am working on sponsors and subscriptions. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, and again, it's a perfect thing to put a comment in that Bob was just talking about. If you'd like to see...
Only if they're good for me.
If you'd like to see Bob on some more episodes, and us talking about other than just, the X's and O's and the football stuff, we always like to pop in little things like this, like a round table type of talk. And I think that's always important and fun to have. So...
My feeling on this, and I've been telling John for a while now, I'd like to see more discussions about things like we talked about today, N.I.L, things like that. Maybe the transfers, a rash of transfers in Section 5, things that affect the game, but not necessarily the X's and O's.
Yeah, I mean, you did bring up that you wanted to talk about how the Federation was going away, which we kind of knew, and they're going back to leagues. But at the time, we were in week number 2 of this past year, and I just like to stay current. And I told them, which we are going to do. I got Tyler coming in the first or second week of February. We are actually going to go out to Oakfield and find he's got a nice little, like a restaurant bar type of place out there, and we're going to sit down and have a nice chat and, maybe get away from the bright lights a little bit and just sit down. And now that he has his first year under his belt, being the Section 5 chairman, he can come in now with, a little more things to talk about as far as, what Section 5 is, where Section 5 is going, and things like that. So I think that'll be a real good episode coming up in the next month.
If he's buying at this restaurant, and you have room for me, include me in. Put it on Section 5's tab.
What about the Bob Ebert tab?
You never know. Remember the big lunch I paid for with our former chairman, Dick Cerrone.
How could I ever forget that? We got to get off But, yeah, that was a great lunch we had up in the Carrier Dome. It was, I want to say it was probably 1985, no, 1995, 94, somewhere in there. And we both said this at the time. We went up and watched,
I don't remember who it was.
Jamestown, and I forgot who. And this is a Class AA. At the time, it was the AAA finals, and in the Carrier Dome. And we both said to each other, "Wow, wouldn't that be awesome to, play a state game here?" And now here it is, whatever, 20 years later.
Well, I
mean, not even.
The first one I saw was Yorktown was playing somebody.
Was it Yorktown?
Yeah, Yorktown. I remember thinking to myself, man, because I'm an Aquinas fan, in case you don't know. You didn't see the shirt. I said, we'll never make it here. This would be great, but it'll never happen. Well, here we are, 8 state championships later. I don't know when the next one will happen, or even if it will happen, but we got 8 of them.
Yep. So, but yeah, that was definitely, something. I remember being there too and just looking around the Carrier Dome and saying, wow, we got an opportunity to have a game played here. It was just, unthinkable at the time. And, we also played at some really great other, we played at Rich Stadium.
Played at Youngstown State.
Youngstown State. We played at the Football Hall of Fame. We did our share of traveling, and those are lifelong memories, We didn't win all those games, but I'll tell you, the experience, though, is just something, just to be around that,
I was talking about the Dixer-owned lunch.
Oh, I know about I was there.
It only cost $2,000, but
I think it was $3,500.
Whatever it was.
But, anyways.
It was good.
That's all we have for today, so, just check back again. What did I say, the 8th, I think? Yep.
Well, Thursday morning, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that'll be this one.
If you're up.
Well, it comes out at 9 a.m. This will be out, but, so, anyways, you ready? On 3, remember what we gotta do? 1, 2,
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Buckeyes.
No.
Oh, I know what we gotta do.
1, 2, 3. Keeping it real. Section 5 football. Good night, everybody.
one in a million, super rich. Got so much dough, I don't know what to do with it. Suddenly, a part of me just wants to go back to how it used to be. Suddenly, a part of me just wants to go back to how it used to be.